almost didn't throw the white flag. I was going to give you one more lap.
The 9 running on the tires. He'll slide up off of turn number 4, Jerry. You've got a new race leader, Matthew Loeb. Your race leader with 4 laps to go.
All right, who told you to tell that joke?
Welcome, we're back.
Wow.
Season 3, episode 8, and unlike the ShamWow guy, Vince, neither one of us or any of us have punched a hooker this week.
Well, speak for yourself.
What?
Where'd that come from?
I don't know. We were talking about Billy May and the Flex Seal and the ShamWow guy and hookers, and
That is not what we rehearsed.
we
What
didn't
else you
rehearse
talk about on a
anything.
Tuesday?
Well, yeah, what else would you talk about?
Hookers?
ShamWows, hookers, and Flex Seal.
Flex Seal.
Pretty much covers it. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, all right. We'll see you back next week for 3-9.
Off the rails in a hurry. It's been a month since we've had a podcast.
Has it been that long?
Seems like a couple
We
of years.
did not even do in my notes, we didn't do a podcast in the month of May.
No, we were all too busy. You were you were getting your upstart business going, the lawn care.
Yeah.
Did you, just out of curiosity, did you sleep?
Diligently on that.
Have you been sleeping in that shirt as
Looks a
wrinkly
little
as it
weathered.
is?
It's in my vending trailer. I have a vending trailer too. I sell T-shirts out of my lawn trailer as well.
So like when you go to people's houses and
Yeah,
mow
I don't
it-
fold them though. I just wad them up in a ball and throw them in the corner.
we can tell. We can tell.
Wow, it has been that long, huh?
It's been
Was
a
my
month.
birthday the last one?
Yes, your birthday.
was the
What
It
last
was
one?
April 30th. That's what I had.
Wow.
50. You've been 50 for a while now. So how's your 50s? How's your 50s?
You know
going
what? You
for
really
Ryan?
look it now.
I really do. I need to trim my beard. It's
Yeah.
all gray.
Where's Billy Mays Grecian black when you need it?
Well, there's going to be a freight, since Jim's here, they're delivering the lifetime supply of 4 million cases for these two today.
Could we get you to do that, Ryan? Sometime just dye your beard Grecian black.
I've thought about it, but I don't grow it long enough to.
You look like Hulk Hogan.
We could
when
do
you
it one
that.
day
Yeah.
on the
Oh,
podcast.
and then, but you got to get the chop.
That'll be part of the
just-
New World Order or whatever
That's
it is, NWO.
Yeah,
Speaking of that,
yes.
My,
Could be for life.
my mustache actually has color to it, though, on the TV.
Where-
There's no color here.
Where you been with that thing?
it'll wipe off.
It'll-
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if we doctored up Jim's hair?
Polish.
Can you imagine what Jim would look like with just greased black hair?
Jim, I love Jim's hair because it's perfect visor hair. It really is.
It
Because
is.
you don't know.
is.
Remember that one year he wore the visor and we thought it was all
One
that way.
year.
Then he took it off and then it was all that way.
That 1 year, I mean, Jim specifically asks
I don't
for
care about anything
IMCA
else.
visors. He said, "Please make me a visor." So we do visors specifically, Jim. So Jim has one. That's
right.
And he puts it on, and it literally looks like that. The hair and the visor you can buy at the truck stop.
It does.
It's perfect.
That's what happens when you get into your 120s.
He doesn't need to touch his hair.
distinguished.
Leave it just like that. It's perfect.
It's called distinguished.
Yeah.
Distinguished.
Like saying you're a gentleman and a
can-
scholar too.
You can tell you dedicate one of the first 14 seconds of your day to hair care, too.
That's right.
You just kind of mat it down. and-
Oh, now listen to the hair care
I don't
expert
have
over
to.
here.
I don't have to.
Well, he drove over here.
I'm gonna cut it
drove
this
over
week,
here.
too.
He took a shower and then hung his head out the window like a dog. Hair flapping in the breeze, most of it blowing away. It's a shedding season. It's, if you have a dog, it's
Where are your dogs?
they stayed home. They
Gotcha. By themselves?
they didn't. Yeah.
I spent a few days in Florida with my parents for my daughter's cheerleading, right? And so I was with my mom and dad one afternoon or evening, and they said, "You want to go over to one of their friends' house?" We went over there and had a drink, right? And I'm sitting there.
Time out. This story's already not true because if
It's true.
if your dad went to a friend's house for a drink, that must have been a really big glass.
They want to know if I wanted to go with, and it was Ken and Virginia were down at Wide World of Sports at the cheerleading stuff, doing cheerleading stuff already, and I was with my parents. I'm like, yeah, I'll go with. So we went over to their house, and I sat down and we started drinking, and my mom's friend Amy, she said, "Brett, do you have hair?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Will you take your hat off, please?" And I'm like, "Why?" And she goes, "I just want to see if you have hair. You wear a hat a lot." I'm like, "Okay." So took my hat off. Yeah, I got hair. I got lots of hair. Right? I don't ever comb it, but I just thought it was interesting.
I think a lot of people that wear hats,
You know
I think
what?
that the assumption is you're trying to
You're
cover what you
hiding
don't
a-
have. Yeah.
You're hiding a Gallagher haircut or something
That
like
was
that.
fascinating.
That was.
So I'm seeing
I
how
think
long
if
I
you
can grow
could
my hair.
Yeah, why don't you grow it out a little bit and then we just dye it orange and we just start calling you Carrot Top?
We could do that.
Yeah.
I met him in Vegas one time. True story. Got a picture with him.
I think if you started now, by the time Super Nationals came, you'd have a good carrot top going.
I told myself one year that I wasn't going to cut my hair after the banquet, and I was going to literally grow my hair all the way through Super Nationals and then be in the mullet contest. I told myself one year I wanted to do that.
That'd be some long hair.
Yeah, but I don't think I could get it grown that long by the time we get to Super Nationals this year.
Not now.
Got a late start. I got a couple of haircuts this year.
Well, something to shoot for next year.
Yeah, exactly. Anyhow,
Enjoy it while you have it,
speaking of
right?
hair.
So
Jerry's is always well groomed. Jim's is always groomed. Ryan's is always cut. Mine's
Did
never.
I have one out of place?
Mine is never combed. I comb it when I go to bed, and then I put a hat on in the morning.
I thought maybe
you
you're like,
comb it before you go to bed?
Yeah,
You comb your hair before you go to bed?
yeah. Don't you take a shower and go to bed? I take a shower before I go to bed every night.
yeah, but I don't.
I'd never comb
yeah,
my
but
hair.
I don't comb my hair.
You have to comb your hair.
Why do you have to comb your hair to go to
If
bed?
it's going to look the way it does during the day, why do you bother to comb it at
You
night?
ever heard of
I
a
don't know. I just comb it.
medical
and go to
condition
bed.
called bedhead?
Yeah,
Yeah, that usually goes right along with morning wood, too.
I got this cup just for you guys this morning.
Did anything happen in the world of racing
Yeah,
in the
what-
last?
No, nothing. I mean, I mean, I think it rained a lot. It rained a
You
lot.
did. We lost some of our anniversary events.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we lost 2 of them because of the rain.
It's rained everywhere.
All over the country.
Yeah, month of May has just been kind of a blur.
We went from drought to deluge.
Now we're going straight into summer.
Oh,
Screw
it was hot
spring.
last night. Yesterday was-
Screw spring.
Must be mid to high 80s the rest of the week through the weekend around here, I think.
That's okay. We need it.
I think
Dry
it's supposed
up.
to be in the 70s around here.
I was in Spencer last night, and there were mosquitoes the size of this table.
Did you sleep last night? Because I saw a post on Facebook at like 2 a.m., like a world according to Jerry post. And I
2
wanted,
a.m.? No.
yeah, it was like 6 hours ago, and I swear when I opened it, it was like 8 this morning when I saw it.
Hell's going on
Okay, he's
over
gonna
there?
fly away.
Yeah.
He's got a stray.
You could just clip those with a scissors.
I was just
whenever
going to
they
pull
hang
it
on the
out.
plate, just
That was a
snip it.
clump.
It was a clump.
It was
It
like
had-
3 or
had
4
some
that were
product to it.
yeah, some product. Yeah, some product.
But yeah, so
Not
it's
something about Mary this morning, just so you know.
there was a lot of rain in May. There was also we did have a few races.
Couple.
Anything exciting happen?
Rain.
Rained.
Spencer. Rain. All-Star
Rain at Spencer.
Shootout.
Rain.
Got adjusted by the
Just
rain.
Rain.
I thought that All-Star Shootout was kind of interesting. You know, we talk about this stuff behind the scenes. People don't necessarily know how these things go down, but what originally was scheduled down there for
Wednesday,
a schedule.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all kind of went to hell when rain washed through Oklahoma and North Texas and
Yep.
pretty much everywhere. In the
Changed
South
that on
Central
Monday.
region.
And once again, the promoters working together.
Yeah.
Some gave up a date. Waco switched the date from Friday
Yep.
to Sunday. And they managed to get 3 great races in. They were good, too. They really were a great car count. Record number of Southern Sport Mods. So it was all good down there. It was a
And
good
you
show.
attended.
I was there.
My wife and daughter went to the races in Waco.
They were in Waco. I saw them.
I wasn't there. You were.
No.
It's kind
You
of
were
weird.
here in the rain.
I told Virginia, I say, hey, if anybody asks if I'm there, just tell them, yeah, I'm over in Tech. And Tech in Waco's in the infield.
Yeah, exactly.
But just say, no, I'm back in the Tech, back in the pits. I'm here somewhere. just tell them I'm there, because people usually ask me, because my wife will post on Facebook where she's at or what she's doing, and then people will ask me, are you in Texas?
They assume you're right there with
They
them.
assume that I'm with her all the time when, I'm
Not
not.
the case.
Right. Like vacations and shit. She goes on vacations all the time. I usually don't go. I stay home and work. She says she looks like a single mother on Facebook. I'm like, well, that's weird, but she kind of does.
Maybe she's trying to tell you
I
something.
don't want to be in the pictures.
What do you
Maybe she
suppose that
said
means?
if you'd comb your hair a little bit and put forth some effort, you
He
might
does
be in
before
more
bed.
pictures.
I do comb my hair.
He does before he goes.
Oh, I know what exciting happened. You like swam, ran, and rode a bike, and
I didn't.
I thought you were. Oh, so you bailed out of the.
Hey, I went to races and I went to Boone's. Two
you
shows
were,
at Boone.
You were prepping for the mini corn dog triathlon.
The pig
swim.
man.
Yeah, the pig man.
Pig
yeah.
man.
The Pigman
I'm
and
gonna
Palo.
do me the pig man But you didn't do it.
The Pigman Impala was
No
Sunday.
pig for Brett.
I went to Independence on Saturday night for their Hall of Fame night. I went over for that, and they had I think you ended up having 150 some cars.
Yep.
We had 7 divisions, and I didn't leave Independence until after midnight. It was like 12:35, 12:40. No, actually, I got home at about 1, a little before 1. I was in bed after 1. I'm not getting up at 5 a.m. and trying to swim 700. It's only 750 meters and 12 miles and 3 miles. So it's a sprint, but
That was in Palo?
yeah, they do it every year. I've done it before. I got 3rd in the Clydesdale division one year. That's the fat guy division, for anybody that's wondering what that is.
Wow.
It's 212 pounds or more. 212 or more.
So these are like wrestling meets where you have different weight classes.
Kinda.
Okay.
Yeah, they have like a lightweight division, and then they have
So you were the 3rd best fat guy? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, there was only one. There was only one of them that showed up. And he got third.
You got 3rd.
How'd you do, Brett? Oh, there were 17 people there, and I scored 25th.
I told myself when I went to bed, I'm gonna get up and do it if I wake up, because I don't sleep well when my wife's not around.
But did you set an alarm to wake up?
No,
Well,
I
it
didn't set an
sounded
alarm,
like
but I
you-
get up normally at 5 in the morning and work out. So I'm like, all right, if I get up,
Out.
if
It
I
sounded
if I
like
get
you
up,
really slept well without your
get
wife
up.
around.
She called me she woke me up at 10 after. It was actually 14 after 10. It was
Wow, you're
10:14
still
in the
dead.
morning, and I was still in bed on Sunday. I was like, whoa.
The pig started at what time?
7:30. I did it in my sleep.
Yeah. What time did you have to have your bike at the transition area?
You know, it would have
6
been.
a.m.
Yeah.
You know, would have been
6 to
great.
7 a.m. That's why
Spot
I'm like
the other,
not doing it.
spot the other fat guys like 3 hours,
Yeah.
and then see where you could have finished.
Yeah, exactly. The Ironman in Des Moines is this weekend,
Yes, it is.
and I'm not doing that either.
Ryan, you?
Yep.
I'm signed up though.
Ryan Sunak?
Yep. I'll do that. I'll do
You're
that.
signed up.
Yeah, I'm like the. How do I describe this without sounding too bad?
So you
You're like-
sign up for all these things, give false hope, and then don't
you-
show
you
up.
pay-
I'm like
you
the
pay
guy,
an entry fee.
I'm like the guy who pays an entry fee, $500 to a race that pays a pile of money and didn't go. I'm that guy in Ironman.
You're one of them-
I pay an entry fee, which is not inexpensive. An Ironman entry fee is usually $3.25, so it's not cheap. So you got to be kind of committed.
$1 per pound.
Something like that. But they sell out. They usually sell out. So you got this whole FOMO thing going on with Ironman stuff too a little bit. If you don't enter, you're just screwed, because if it sells out, you're done. And it goes up the closer you get to the date. It's at the tiered pay. It gets more expensive to enter. So I enter. They send you an email right away, and I enter. I've done Des Moines Ironman, and I've done Waco's, and I was
That's an
doing
interesting
both this year, and I
concept for
did.
racing.
Ain't it though? So
Enter and not show up.
enter and not show up. So I'm like that.
about 135 of your
I'm
closest
that
friends.
wussy Ironman guy this weekend. I'm going to be the
Are there a lot of people that do that, you think, that for the
no,
Ironman? That
not generally speaking.
would
No,
think
because
not.
if you go to Des Moines Ironman this weekend,
Oh, it's
I'll
huge.
I'll let you know what it's like.
there's
when I'm there
3,000
competing.
people entered. That was the other reason it made me a little nervous for this weekend. What'd you say?
I'll let you know when I'm there competing with the crowd.
You could go as me. I'll give you my ID.
How much you weigh?
216.
You got about 20 pounds on me.
So you're
Oh,
perfect
come
weight.
on.
It's
195,
perfect. I wish I
198.
weighed 195. It'd be
I do too.
What are you saying, Jim?
Why do you wish Brett weighed 195?
No, I wish.
Oh.
I don't give a shit about
That's
it.
weird.
No shit.
that's weird.
Get him out. Let's get him out of the.
Jerry, how much you
You can
wish
do
that
it.
Nate weighed?
I'm not sure what Nate's
We
down
could
to.
make you a fake ID today. We'll put.
Yeah, what
are you
I'm
up
not sure
to?
what he's back up to. He did get down. So you could make me a fake ID.
Yeah, we'll put your picture on my ID, and you can be me this weekend.
Could I be like Luke? Could my name be like Luke Warmwater or something?
Hot
No,
Springs,
it's
Arkansas.
legitimately my name, and they check your ID and they give you a little QR code. I got all the stuff to enter if you want to do it. I'm going to be in Texas though, so
You can be Brett Root for a day. Maybe we ought to have a contest.
Yes, we could have a contest. Be Brett Root for a day.
yeah.
Shadow the
Boy.
day in the life. Of
I bet
Brett
you you'd-
Root.
I really I bet you.
I think
have
we should.
shitloads of people sign
I think
up
that
for
would be
that.
fun. Me and G Wagon could follow you around for a day with cameras.
Hey, all I do is mow. Haven't you read the shirt?
I couldn't read it through the wrinkles.
IMCA Lawn Care. The grass is always greener on our side.
Well, except for that patch over there by the one building.
No, that's all fixed.
I'm working on growing grass over there.
You know how you work on growing grass. You plant it in the fall and you water it and you
So anyhow, what else are we going to talk about?
Yeah. Did anything happen in racing? If we ever determined that in the last month?
We did. We had a couple of good races in Boone that I went to. They had the Hall of Fame in Independence.
That modified
We
feature,
had a,
boom, went from 4th to 1st.
Oh,
I
that
was
was
the race
great.
director in that race. That was kind of fun.
So that was your doing, was it?
That's right. Back up. Now go. Now go.
I race directed for 2 weeks.
Mike,
And the
skate up high.
highlight-
Skate up high.
the
Nick,
hi-
go ahead and hit that guy real quick. Nick, hit him, and then
Okay, Jimmy, hold on now because here comes Shoot. He's gonna go between
Mike,
all
we
of you.
need you to get out of the way. We want Jimmy to win.
yeah.
Scoot over. I mean, if people had a scanner, they'd hear me saying these things. That's what I say to the racers usually. No, but seriously, I enjoy race directing at Boone. I did it at Super Nationals last year for the first time, and so Grant said he couldn't be there for a couple weeks.
Oh, we knew when you race directed.
Did you want to do it? So I'm like, yeah, I want to do it. So I went over there just to do that.
But do you have a voice left after the drivers' meeting to be able to direct the
Oh,
races?
come on now. I don't even. I get there late. I didn't make it for the drivers' meeting. I had to go to the casino. No.
We had a.
He did sit in and fill in your chair there a couple weeks.
Yeah,
I did.
heard, yeah.
The second week I was there, actually, I didn't race direct.
No, you sat with me.
I sat in there and hung out with you, which was fun too. I don't know how you do that, Jerry. I really don't. I mean, it is anybody who is critical of announcers and what they're saying and how they're calling races and stuff like that needs to actually try it because it is incredibly difficult.
Did you
guys
announce
do
that
it
night?
very well. I tried to just talk.
He was like the color guy or the.
Yeah, I'd rather talk
You
about the fun
play-by-play?
stuff.
That was play by play.
He does the
was
play-by-play and the lineups and all that stuff. I can't read that fast. I'm not that smart.
You do. Boop.
When they flip, I just go boop. But no, I had fun, and the highlight of my 2 nights at Boone was having the I won't say who the racer was, but his dad did not like a call on the racetrack when I was race directing, so his dad made the effort to walk all the way from the pits,
Oh, that's just
all the way over to the grandstands in Boone. It's not like it's just up; it's just a couple of feet away. He walked all the way around the racetrack, all the way to the flag stand, and while we're racing, still wanted Logan to know that I should lick his nuts.
That's right. And I think
And-
Logan turned around and said, "Well, he's right up there if you want to go lick him."
The one night I missed Boone.
Yes, there's nothing going on.
Nothing going on. No
I'm like,
right.
what? I'm like, Logan, you made that call. He goes on the radio. I go, Logan, you made that call. He goes, I know. That's what's so funny about it.
Well, he wanted to. I think he wanted to lick he wanted to lick your nuts, and he wanted to shove the black flag so far up Logan's ass that.
Oh, no, it's fun.
That's called the
It's
dream
fun
date
being
for
an
Ryan.
official.
Ryan's like, Thursdays, I love them.
This is gonna get off the rails. in a
Gonna
hurry
get off
here.
the rails. I think
What do you
It's
expect
gonna.
when you drop nut licking card?
Yeah.
That's what he said.
the nut licking card.
That's what he said. And it's so interesting from my standpoint.
So did
because,
you?
No. That's so
Now he
interesting.
chickened out.
It's so interesting from my standpoint because we deal with this kind of stuff all the time here. I mean, it's just constant.
Part of the fun.
And we'll go to racetracks still to this day, and you have people that'll say, I don't know, they call people all kinds, each other names, racers calling each other's names, racers calling the tech officials names, the lineup people names, the flagman names. I mean, just on and on and on. So anymore to me, it's just like I just find humor in it.
Oh, you have
You
to.
you almost have to. When somebody says, "You lick my nuts," I'm just like, that's kind of funny. Thank you. I don't know what to say otherwise.
You can lick my nut. Oh, would you shower first?
I mean, but what do you do? Find the guy?
Oh, you
Don't find
laugh.
the guy.
You
You know,
laugh.
you just-
You're like, Psh, have
You
a nice
laugh.
day. Have a nice day.
yeah.
We had a big race up in Spencer a couple weeks ago. A rookie in the sport mod division, not sport mod, but stock car division won it. The stock car
Yeah.
feature
A rookie?
this year hasn't raced a race in the stock car yet this year.
Was it Ricky Thornton?
I don't know who it was. I forget the name.
Rookie.
We could talk about these high paying races in some interesting detail during the podcast because they're really creating some interesting set of circumstances for us here at IMCA.
What weekly racing?
When you're paying $25,000 to win races, $10,000, which we have some $10,000 to win races coming up for
Next
mods.
week.
Yeah.
We had a $25,000 to win in the stock cars and in the sport mods. in the sport mod division in particular, when they pay a bunch of money, it creates a set of circumstances for us that are kind of challenging, and that is trying to monitor who's racing in it or attempting to race in it because of our license restrictions. And it really did become like a full-time job for the week or two before that 25,000 to win show to monitor.
It upset some people.
I made some friends.
It did, but all we're trying to do is protect our sport mod division from modified drivers poaching their specials. And it's been fairly easy for us to do that for years, but when you throw a 25,000 or 10,000 to win race into the equation, things get a little bit more challenging.
Thank God for my race pass.
Yeah, exactly. The stock car deal is a little bit, the dynamics are kind of the same, but people wanted us, I'll just give you an example. People wanted us not to allow Ricky Thornton to race the stock car because he's a
topic of conversation.
Because he's a late model racer. And my response to that was from the onset is we have never had that license restriction ever in the stock car division.
Dylan Thornton can do it. Why can't Ricky?
We would literally be making a rule up specifically because of that race paying more. For that race, because of that race, now we're going to write a rule. And I didn't feel like that was the place for us to do it. If the license restrictions are where they are at, and we had to add to the top of every division what they were because, again, people were getting confused. They weren't reading all the divisions, so we tried to make it to where it made sense. But at the end of the day, we're not gonna put license restrictions in place just for one race, I don't think.
Or based off people's name.
Or based on who it is. Yeah, so...
You mean there's a rule book that you should read once a year?
And on the flip side of that,
I know a guy that didn't. It got disqualified.
We had people wanting Ricky to run a sport mod in that race.
Yeah, they had actually asked if he could. That we said no to.
So we ended up running a sport compact.
Maybe that's the 100. Well, are we going to have a 25,000 win sport compact race?
Oh, why not? We'll put one on.
Wait, it's, I think, 103,000 for the sport compacts.
Are you hosting that one, Jerry?
I might as well. Why not?
Come on. The Bumblebee Nationals.
No, that's it. That's in Algona. They got that here in a couple Thursdays.
That's right.
Compacts.
They do call them Bumblebees up
Bumblebee.
there.
Yes.
That's right.
Because there were Hornets or something.
There you
Keep
go.
hearing something in the background, like maybe somebody.
guest.
Do we have a guest? Nate, can we bring our guest in?
Speaking of high-paying races.
Well, he's one.
Holy cow.
Wow, look at that.
Whoa.
That's a lot better than the dude who's normally on the Zoom camera.
Zoom guys. Nice hair. It's Brandon Beckendorf, who created a milestone and recently picked up his 200th
Mr.
career
200.
IMCA modified win.
He did.
So, Brandon, could you go through all those 200 wins?
Yes, let's start with number one.
Yeah, where was number one?
Number one, 2008, I only got one win. And then after that, I got about 10 wins a year for a while. I mean,
for about 20 years.
I don't know. That was just too many.
For people who don't know who you are, Brandon, obviously we all do. We know who you are. For people who don't know who you are, just let's hit a couple of things. First off, like how old are you? Where you live? Are you married? Do you have any kids? Some of those basics things.
I'm 32 years old. Danny, Minnesota, Minnesota. A wife, 3 awesome kids.
Heck yeah.
I'm busy running around with them.
Yep. How old are your kids?
7, 5, and 2.
Boys
and how
or
long you been
girls?
married? I got to ask this.
You shouldn't ask this. 2007.
Yes, you're
2016.
perfect. Well, you're saving all of us as well, because we always get that question asked. We're men, and we're always like, oh, when did I get married?
Do you by chance know the date?
October 29.
Do you remember
October
where it
20.
happened?
So like Halloween.
Yeah,
Did you guys have a costume contest?
No, I didn't have a costume contest. That was a long time ago. Met in 2012. I know that.
16, that's 8 years. That's not that long ago. And the thing that's interesting to me on that date is you got married after the racing season.
It's married. So 8 years.
Yeah, I had to because I raced like the week before somewhere, so I can't even remember where I raced.
He's probably thinking, what am I talking about? My family life? It's like you're past Sajak. No, I like it. They're good questions.
So hang on, he's been married for 8 years and he has
Yeah.
a child at 7. They wasted no time. They consummated that thing.
He's
pretty
young,
quick.
though.
That's
He's
right.
young. Kids when you're mid-20s.
I figure I want to get it all done before I want to have hopefully all my kids graduate and have fun after 50. So
You're talking to the wrong crowd here.
Shoot. So you have 3 kids, boys or girls?
one boy, my boy's the oldest, and 2 little girls. Busy running around. I had wrestling camp this morning, so then he's got football later tonight, and my daughter's in gymnastics full time too all summer. So busy
boy.
running around.
Do they like going to the races?
Yeah, my daughter actually I think likes it way better than my son does. But me and my son went with us to Mandan last week, and
Or you won.
he enjoys it quite a bit.
Yeah, congratulations on the
Governor's
200th
Cup.
win. Yeah, and clear up there in Mandan. I was like, when I saw that, I was like, is that
I was
real?
surprised. I thought that was a mistake.
Like, why in the hell's would Beckendorf clear up in Mandan? Why were you up there? Was it the purse? Because it paid more?
I raced that race, so I got invited by Marlon Seidler a couple of years ago to come up there. So I was like, okay, I'll try it. 100 laps. Thought it was kind of a little bit crazy, but we did it the first time, got 3rd. And then last year I was going to go, and then it was going to rain. So I was like, I'll just avoid going up there. And then this year it kind of just worked out. There's not really going on a whole lot. And then I kind of was hoping to. And then I was at 199. And Bill was telling me a week or 2 ago. So I was like, well, this adds up. Maybe we can get lucky here and get this through. I mean, it's so hard. There's so many good guys up there.
Oh, that was a
especially
hell of a feature.
Mandan. But no, it worked out well.
Keller, Marlin.
Yep. Yeah, Strand, Walla was there. Turnbull, he won the year before, I believe.
Hibben was there, wasn't he?
It was through.
Yeah, Mandan's a cool racetrack.
Yeah, it
Obviously,
is.
it's on the Dakota Tour, so a lot of our race fans that don't necessarily visit Mandan in person, they get to see the facility through the Dakota Tour, and yeah, it's a cool place. It's
I don't think I've ever
got
seen
a lot
a
of
bad.
bank. It's not too big. It's not too small. Gets real super slick.
Yep.
So there's a lot of cool things about Mandan, and
Never seen a bad race there.
right in the crowd that's up there. I mean, some of the guys you mentioned, some of the best mod racers we have, and most successful mod racers we have in all of mod racing, call that place home.
In fact, Marlon Seidler, not only is he one of the best, I think he's the oldest mod racer.
He might be.
Oh yeah.
Gonna be
Don't
close
tell
to
him
it.
that. We'll tell him that. He'll come unglued on you.
Oh, he usually does about something.
No.
Oh no.
No, Marlon never gets angry.
No.
He's a super nice guy.
Oh, he
Him and
is.
Bo is a good guy. They're awesome people. And racing up there, I don't think we didn't have a caution for 94 laps. We had the midway break, and then we had 106 to go. So, and no one tore up anything. So that's kind of racing they do up there. It's really good. Everything is professionally done too.
And it's run by a bunch of volunteers. It's run by a club, and that's kind of neat. There's not many tracks that can pull that off
It's a very well run club.
very well.
If you're going to volunteer your time, you've got a passion for what you do.
Correct.
Sure.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well, congrats on that win. Yeah, we were all.
Yeah.
I saw that and I was like, what the heck?
And the other 199.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of wins. And Ryan can touch on some of that stuff if he would. But I have a couple questions I want to ask you before that. How'd you get your car number? I'm kind of curious.
Initial car, and my first modified about in late 2007 to the race in 2008. That guy was number 5, and I was like, I think I was 88 as a go-kart when I was a kid, and I was like, well, I hate having 2 numbers because it takes too much space on the door. So I was like, I'm going to go down to a single number. And then when I bought the car was number 5, I was like, well, I'll just stick with number 5.
Already on there.
And it's ever since.
Want to save space and money. It's already got a sticker on it.
I love that.
like
That's the best.
A lot of guys go into in-depth stories. Well, it's because of this, and this.
Well, my dad's grandpa's wife's girlfriend's sister had number 5 on her car when she was back in the 30s. And
Nope, came with the car.
It fits well now, though. He's got 3 kids, a wife, and himself, so he's number 5.
fine.
You know,
Yeah,
I'm
right.
thinking, why is he 5? I actually wondered that. Yeah, I wondered that about everybody's
That
car
is
number,
probably
but it's
the
really
best answer I've ever heard.
that is
on a
pretty
car
cool.
Number.
And you said you raced go-karts. That was going to be my next question is when did you start racing? How long ago?
I just before right at 5 years old. we did that locally, and then we kind of went national stuff. I mean, I used to race like Brett Moffitt. He was in my class racing go-karts. Dalton Langman, he used to race sport mods. All Caden Carter, all the Carter boys, Carter Vandenberg, like all those guys. They used to all race with us together. So it's kind of weird how it's full circle.
Ain't it though?
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's really neat.
You mentioned a lot of guys that have obviously they're racing in
Very,
IMCA
very
or have
successful.
raced in IMCA and are successful racers as well. Yeah, it's always cool to see the backdrop or the background on racers, on where they start and how, and obviously how much their parents, obviously your parents must have been very actively involved in your racing when you were younger.
Yeah, no, they were. I remember going to races forever. Since I was been like 3 years old.
Did your dad race?
No, he didn't. He used to own a couple cars in the 90s. When they were kind of like, they were IMCA racing. And then they like Kurt won. He was involved. He only lives like 10 miles from me.
I'm sorry.
Oh, he's quite the interesting character too. But
Do you think?
You are very politically correct with that comment.
That Beckendorf kid is smart.
no, I like making fun of Kurt. Kurt comes to shop every once in a while, so he's fun to talk. He tells so many stories, so a lot of stories more than once too. But, no, he's always good to have around. He has a lot of experience too. A lot of people don't think that. I mean, some people think he's a little crazy, which he is, but like he has a lot of knowledge too and experience from over the years.
Boy, there's probably not a more fun driver to watch than him. It's exciting. I'll
Sometimes to race against too.
I think I'd rather watch than race against.
Yeah.
Yeah, some days. I have my days.
I just don't want him mad at me.
No.
You ain't gotta do anything.
He's all talk. He's like that neighborhood dog that just barks when you walk by.
Well, I'm going to take your word on that because I'm not going to try it.
No. That's funny. So on to IMCA stuff. You've been racing IMCA since 08, you said?
2008.
2008. And you've run a lot of races. Ryan's compiled your stats, and they're very, very interesting.
I just can't believe. I mean, you won the first year that you raced with us, 2008, and after you got that 1 year or that one win that first year, you've pretty much been in double-digit wins, 200 wins, top fives around 430.
Wow.
Top tens around 540 in just 650 races. I mean, he's winning every third, fourth night out. I mean, so you've been good from the first race. You won.
Where was the first race at?
Has there ever been a feature you did not finish?
No, well, no, yeah.
I mean, from the
there's
stats,
a couple.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he rolled over in Arizona that one time.
Yeah, I rolled over in Spencer too.
Yep, there
I
too.
rolled over 4 times. Yeah.
You've
I
won
won my
more
first-
races than you haven't finished, though.
What haven't I finished?
You have won more races than you probably have DNF'd races.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, probably. I mean, we try to. I was always told. My dad always tells me, you just keep going till the wheels fall off it. So
He's actually
Just
won
keep
more
on-
races than
keep on
he's
going.
finished outside the top 10.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Won 200 and has been out of the top 10 maybe 120 times total. That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a wheel man right there.
No doubt.
I want to know what interesting and fun things there are to do in Danube. I mean, I've been by it.
you drove through it before on your way to Glenwood.
Oh yeah, I mean that's why. I mean, I drove through and I was like, wow.
So driving through it, you experienced the fun apparently.
Yeah, I mean, is there
Yeah,
what does one do for fun in Danube, Minnesota? If I was to have a staycation, what would I do in Danube?
We'd probably drive up to Glenwood and go on to the boat at Minnewaska. It's not that far.
No, it's really not that far.
No, they got a bar, fire department, and that's about it. I have to drive 4 miles to go either way to either golf course if you want to go golf, or you can go 18 miles south, and then you can go to the Redwoods Beam on Sundays this year. It's finally opening back up. Hopefully it goes well. But that's about it. I mean, there ain't much to do.
Casey,
Casey's.
Is there a Casey's in town?
I don't think there is.
Yeah, there's
Oh, there-
Casey's 4 miles away. Yeah.
There you
That is
go.
to say, no, it's not in town. Danube does not have it. It's one of the
in the
it's one of the 3 cities in the Midwest that does not have a Casey's.
But there's one in the suburbs.
There's one in the suburbs. Yes.
Yep. If you don't have that stop sign, you're gonna drive right by it and miss it.
So you've probably already answered this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So what do you do? What do you do for fun outside of racing? I mean, obviously racing takes a lot of your time, but you've got 3 kids. You know,
Yeah.
what do you do outside of racing?
Right now, we're just kind of I mean, my kid's in wrestling. I have a big passion for that. So, I mean, obviously, I'm not in shape anymore, nor can do it very well anymore.
Professional or
But
amateur?
I like going to it. They have a team thing, and I'm really involved in that. That your daughter, does she wrestle too, right?
She
Is
did
that what
this
she
year.
did?
She signed up for wrestling as a 7th grader. That was quite the experience.
Jim wanted to know,
Yeah.
was the wrestling amateur or professional? I mean, did you?
No.
I mean, you
No, I didn't.
You didn't like. I mean,
Anyway,
the WWE never said, "Hey,
No.
Vince never called you."
no, Vince never called me. I wasn't that athletic. I probably wouldn't be here if I was on WWE. But yeah, no, I do that, and then I take my daughter's gymnastics, and then we go away. Me and my son, we like golfing. I mean, I kind of took that up this
Nice.
year. I really enjoy it.
Yep.
It's very competitive and very difficult to do too.
Yes.
What do you
Go-
do? What do you do for every day? Like, what is your job? Because I noticed at one point you had like I don't know if it was grease or chocolate cake batter on your fingers.
Either a
Yeah,
mechanic or a baker.
Pretty much automotive repair business we have, and then a machine shop. So we build race car engines, diesel stuff. I mean, we kind of do anything, everything. I
You're a
mean,
mechanic.
egg related.
Auto
Related.
mechanic, diesel mechanic of some
Yeah.
sort.
Yep.
So not a baker.
Not a baker. Could you bake a chocolate cake if we needed you to?
No, I probably can't.
Just good.
I mean,
just buy those.
Brandon, the directions are right on the box.
If you can build a motor, you can
That's
bake a
the-
cake.
Yeah.
I'm with
You can
Brandon.
dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
You know,
I'm with Brandon on that one as well. I just assume buy the cake made. I
I'd
don't want
rather
to
eat it
I'll
than make it.
go to Casey's and buy the cake.
There you go.
It's only a couple. It's right in the suburbs.
It's only 4 miles away.
No stop.
Yeah.
There's no stop sign. You'll miss it. Don't drive by.
So a couple more questions. So we know where you live, Danube. It's kind of by Redwood Falls. So what is your home track? What do you consider to be your stomping ground?
Well, I grew up racing probably Arlington or Redwood. Arlington Raceway.
Yep.
It's only like an hour from me. But I mean, we've been racing pretty much. If you want to call me weekly racing, I would say Spencer is probably the closest. I mean, that's an hour. It's say 2 hours.
Yep.
And it's pretty much really the only place we go to every night. And that's just because of Trent and what he's done at the place. I've been there when I was really bad. I mean, it's improved a bunch. And then I mean, I would put Mandan and probably Spencer in the top category where, like, surface wise and race.
Yeah, I was going to
Just
ask you that next.
your race.
What's your favorite racetrack? If you had to pick a track to race at the rest of your life, you couldn't go anywhere else. Where would it be?
Mandan.
Yep.
That's why I drive 6.5 hours to get there.
Exactly. I believe
Bubba's
that. We've
gonna
all
love
been
to
there.
hear it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful facility. It really is. We said that earlier, and so that one doesn't surprise us at all. So of all these 200 wins, do you have like a most memorable one?
I would say like I don't know if the Super Nationals, the race champions, really count. I mean, I won that last year. That was a big one.
Yep.
Obviously for obvious reasons. The Ironman, and then Salute to Veterans race 2 years ago, 3 years ago. In Spencer.
Yep.
That was a big race. Night Without the Stars last year. That was a big one. But those ones kind of top five. It seems like I was at the local level. I was winning a lot of local races, and then all of a sudden now we're kind of switching gears and we're actually winning a lot of bigger races. So I mean, our program's really improved to get better. But when you're racing Tom, Tim, and like Ethan last night, I mean, it's hard to win those races, and you got to be really good, and it puts you on top of your game every night.
I mean, you've
Yeah.
qualified for Super Nationals the last 2 years. You had kind of a kind of a lull, I think about 10 years between qualifying runs in Boone. What's changed, I would say, that's made you so more competitive these last couple of years? I
think just putting yourself with the right people. I mean, I had a lot of good experiences with a lot of great people, legendary people. Kelly Strock, all them guys, they helped me out for years. And now we're in Vanderbilt cars. Zach helps me out a bunch. Just Denny Fuller, CPD Shocks. Like they have so much knowledge of years, and they help you they don't help you with just selling you stuff and whatnot, put on your car. Like they help you like just as a person too, on a personal level. So I mean, they do a lot for me, and I can't really thank them enough. And my parents, my wife let me race, and I think having kids too, I think that's kind of, you kind of want to set a good example for them. So you try to do your best in that part of it too.
Yeah. People want to be around winners first off. Which obviously you know what you're doing when you're driving a race car when you're in 200 features. They all run together. That's why I was kind of curious which one you had won. But not only that, you look at your career in IMCA racing, Brandon, and you're not the guy that gets in trouble all the time. You're not the guy who's causing trouble. You generally speaking, I would say there's probably quite a few people who maybe don't know exactly who you are. Which is weird when you're winning 200 races because that's a shitload of races. But it's just kind of your personality. You've got a very mellowness to yourself. You don't cause problems at the track. You speak up if you don't agree. I know we've had conversations like that at certain events. But, I think you tend to, the people you had mentioned and the cars you're driving and stuff like that, you tend to attract a certain type of person as well, and you put together a great program and at the end result is kind of what you're seeing right now. I mean, you're incredibly successful in an IMCA modified, racing against the guys you're racing against in the largest division of cars in the country, with as competitive as it is. When you're winning 5,000 to win shows, you're doing something right. You're doing not just something, you're doing a lot of things right. So it's really cool to have you take the time to sit and talk with us, because we think guys like you, especially, are what IMCA is about. You're not a wealthy racer. You're not. You have a normal job. You work your ass off. You got a family with kids. It creates a very demanding setting for you as well. And you're still taking time to race. I mean, it's kudos to you. I mean, props to you for all your accomplishments. Can't thank you enough for running IMCA, because I still think guys like you are what IMCA is about.
Absolutely.
You're talking about guys that, maybe get in trouble, might not. I don't know how many guys we have that have won 200 features that have never been fined or suspended or received any disciplinary from us. He's on that very short list. There has never been any disciplinary action with you.
No, I think I got DQ'd one time, and that was for a mud cover.
Was it on the left front?
It was on the right front. I'm still very hurt about that. I still think I was kind of in the right, but I don't make the rules, so it is what it is.
It's crazy the things that stick in people's heads and the things that you remember. I specifically remember one night that we were in Fairmont. I was there and Dave was there, and you were winning a lot of races at that time, like you have been for many years. And that was the night that Dave and I discussed. I said, I think maybe you should take your crate engine apart. So we tore your crate engine apart in the pits in Fairmont. Remember that? I'm sure you remember.
Yeah, I remember that. That was kind of, I didn't really care. That was all right too. There was a lot of talk going on at that time. Shut a lot of people up about that. They're like, oh, it's illegal, whatnot. And then I told Dave. Dave was like, well, what do you want me to do? I said, tear it all apart. So I'm like, it doesn't bother me one bit. If that's what makes... it really makes, if you do that on IMCA's part two, do I want to put it all back together? No, but keeping the integrity of the sport, of all that, all the rules too. I watched them, they tore apart the stock car motors the last couple of weeks ago. You're just trying to keep the integrity of the sport and keep everybody in check. So, I get that too on the business side.
Sure, and we appreciate that. We always appreciate when we have to do something like that. It's not the funnest setting at times, and usually the racers involved and their crews are usually the people that we have the least amount of problems with, and it's the people who don't necessarily race. Did walk by or stand by a pit pass or
With
they
the
buy a
smart ass
grandstand race.
comments.
Yeah, they stand there, and I remember in Fairmont we were getting them. I remember getting some myself about how people always have an opinion on whatever we do as officials, but I just remember that. I remember that setting because it's one of the few times we've tore a crate engine apart actually at the races, and it was you, and I think you'd won that night. But
yeah, because I remember Dave said something. He's like, "Well, if you guys win tonight, we're probably gonna have taking apart." I was like, "Well, I guess we're taking the motor apart, maybe." So we got lucky that night and we won that race. And I had no problem with it. I mean, Dave's a great guy. Dave knows what he's done. He's trying to do what's right, and he's not going to let anything get past anybody. So, I mean, you got to appreciate the effort on his part too.
Yep, you've had a couple of really stellar. I mean, you've had a lot of good seasons with IMCA, but you've had a couple of really standout ones. One that stands out to me was, I think it was 2020.
Yep.
I remember it specifically because of how it played out at the end of the season. You'd won a pile of races. You were at the top of our national points. We went into our bonus system, and you lost our national championship on bonus points.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He probably don't want to talk about that either.
Yeah.
That one.
I was hoping right now, Brandon. So thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, I was gonna say I
Well,
know Brandon, and he's like, "You son of a bitch, why?"
It's a set of circumstances. Well, he's mentioned Spencer, and Spencer doesn't do any weekly track points. They run a lot of specials in their schedule.
Everything's draw, redry, essentially.
Yeah.
Right, and so that we don't give bonus points at Spencer. Well, you had won a ton of races, and you needed bonus points, and Spencer hadn't issued track points, and so you fell victim to that. You really did. But the system is the system, kind of like you just said. It doesn't matter if it's engines or our point system or our procedures, whatever they are. I mean, it's not like we made it up on the spot, but you fell victim to that. We as officials and people who make decisions here, we feel bad about some of that stuff too. You know what I mean? It's like, oh shit, look how this played out. I know it's probably not on your highlight moments as far as how it all played out, but
Tom Berry was thrilled, I heard.
Yeah, he was happy.
Yeah, but again, it shouldn't detract necessarily from your successes, especially that year, because I think 27 wins or whatever it was. I mean, that's just a crazy amount of wins for somebody to pick off in a year for people that are driving race cars. And there's a lot. We got a lot of racers in IMCA that turn lots of laps that never win races. They're lucky if they can win a heat race.
He was 38 top fives and 46 starts.
Yeah.
That's just incredible.
And you think about that in 2020, there was like 4 months we couldn't.
Yeah, there was a lot of not racing that
There was
year.
a lot of not racing that year.
Yeah, he just had.
Yeah,
And
I
it
don't
wasn't
think we
because of
started.
rain.
End of May, I don't think we really started racing. That was Alabama, and that was like forbidden to even start there, if I remember.
Yeah. So you just had one of those seasons. It's crazy how this sport can have the highs can be incredibly high like that, and then the lows can be just absolutely miserable.
When we talk about stats like that, what really sticks out is the effort you must put in on the non-race nights to keep your equipment from not breaking down. I mean,
it's a lot. It's a full-time job, second full-time job. I mean, we're racing. I mean, I don't race as much as what I used to. Try to race periodically, just between everything else going on. But I mean, back in 2020 and 2019, I think 18, we raced a lot. But we're racing 4 nights a week, and it's like now it's just we just don't do that. And I'm better off, and I think that's actually helped my program just because I'm not grinding up and down the highway. It's like some of these guys are. I'm having fun with it now. Get to pick and choose where I want to go. And then like the modified scene right now, it's kind of up and down. You just don't know what you're going to get a lot of times. And the stock car stuff's really going right now. I think that's just a cycle. I mean, hopefully the mod racing kind of comes back. I mean, Spencer had 25 and stuff like that, but the new normal, I feel like, is 10 to 14 modifieds, and that's kind of not a great feeling just because there's a lot of good cars, and I just are passionate with modified racing, a lot of us, and we kind of feel like it's kind of going away in that aspect. But I mean, you can't, it's just the economy and everything else, you can't really affect that.
I know Jim asked this question, a lot of people, and so I'm going to ask you. So, if there was one rule you could change, do you think it would make a difference in mod racing to get a car count up from 15 to back up to 24 or something like that? Do you think there's something in specific, or is it just the expense of the car?
I don't really think so. I think sometimes the point average rule. I mean, I see a lot of people complaining about that. I mean, I have my negatives and positives about that. I get it. But with just, I mean, it just costs so much to do it. I mean, like between, I don't know, you guys did the grooving the tires thing. I mean, that's all right and all dandy. I don't really enjoy doing it, but the stock car, I mean, the stock car stuff and the mod stuff, it's hard to put together because people buy new cars, and it's like some of the stock car stuff costs them more than the modified stuff. So why don't we have modified people? So what I do think it's easier to work on stock cars too. And the racing is a little bit better, but I mean, it's not really my thing. I did it for a couple of years.
So you must like mod racing more. You like to drive a mod more than a stock car?
Yeah, I enjoy like the speed and just like you can just go all over the place and just, I mean, when you can race, like who was in our races last night, I mean, that's what you want. I mean, stock car racing's fun, doing your own. I'm not a fan of changing gears, but yeah, it's just not really my thing. I mean, some people have their thing. Some people like stock cars, and I mean, I like watching it. I just don't. I mean, it's all right to drive, but I'm not good. I don't want to really do it all the time. Sure. Mod racing is my thing. Yep. I just feel like it's the top tier racing, in my opinion. If you want to, that's the highest level you can be right now. If you're on IMCA, I would maybe a late model. But late model seems to be growing too, so it's just you see, and that's another thing. Like late model racing, it's really starting to take off, and I think that's because like the modifieds are kind of, I don't know if they're phasing, if they're going to stock car racing and late model racing, but it just seems like that's kind of the trend that's going on right now. Kind of hope mod racing just stay strong. I mean, your metro areas like Boone, Marshalltown, like that, they're getting good car counts, but you like go other places and it's getting pretty thin, and that's not ideal situation for anybody, track promoters or drivers or anybody.
Yeah, everything ebbs and flows. There's no doubt about that. It cycles up and down. You know, we've always seen that as an association within IMCA. You go to one racetrack and they can't get any hobby stocks. You go to another racetrack and they got 40 of them. And we see that quite a bit consistently. And we still have that with mod racing. We still have that with stock car racing. We still have facilities that are, you know, just got
141.
Plenty of race cars for a full field.
Yeah, you go out to Wisconsin, they're getting 35, 40 every weekend.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, like, I think part of it is just the mod guys just aren't weekly racing, in my opinion.
Correct.
They're pick and choosing. So I'll like sell race car parts and stuff like that, and like you're still selling a bunch like you used to a couple years ago when everybody's racing. There's still like cars out there. Like I told a couple people, I was like, mod racing isn't dead, I don't think, at any point. Like a lot of people are like, oh, it's gone. I was like, no, it's not. There's still a lot of cars out there. They're not bouncing up and down the highway, I feel like, every day, like a lot of like the stock car people are. And I mean, there's no young people getting it. I feel like the cycle too comes with like the people that are getting into the sport. I mean, you're kind of at a spot right now. I don't think there'll be a whole lot of people coming in. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. But like the younger, there's a group right coming up that I think will be huge because they're like whatever, they're probably 10 years older than me, but they have kids and they're getting into racing. And so you're going to have another group of people. It just seems like maybe we're in the spot that we don't have a bunch of new people coming in right now too. So that kind of hurts people. And it's so expensive to get into it. Unless you have somebody helping you, it's very difficult these days.
I think every division has this issue. The threshold of what the level of the entry point is as far as expense, what you're going to have to invest. Everybody needs a trailer, everybody needs a truck, generally speaking.
Yeah.
Although we have seen people drive their race cars across the street to the track and not have
Yes,
trailers.
we have.
It's some weird, interesting things.
Couple miles from here. in fact.
But a compact guy, has got a truck and a trailer just like a mod guy's got. So everybody kind of has that issue at play, I think, a little bit. But then you get into the actual cost of the car, and the actual cost of the engine, and then the cost per night, and what it costs to actually race the thing. And there's no doubt that there's a threshold, I think, that for every racer that this is just too much. I can't do this no more. I'm going to do something different or switch divisions. We see it all the time in IMCA. Mm-hmm. But you're right. When a guy switches divisions, he has to usually sell that car to somebody else. What's that amount going to be? What's it take to get in, even in a used market? And then you get to the subject that, can they be competitive? And that's, the mod division right now. I think all IMCA divisions, but the mod division is incredibly competitive everywhere it's at. So investing that kind of money in a race car and not winning is going to be discouraging. So I can see where people would maybe make the decision to pick a different division. But in IMCA, the modified division is still the number one class in this association. It is our biggest class. So it's not like it's unpopular, and it's not like it's struggling to the point to where nobody owns them, because there are lots of them around. It's just the frequency of when people race and picking and choosing, and the lifestyle stuff that even you are dealing with. When you got kids and making choices and wrestling or gymnastics or whatever it may be. That stuff all becomes. It all weighs in on what decisions you're making, whether you're going to go to Spencer or not.
Priorities change.
Yep.
Yeah. No,
Crazy.
There's a lot of people that have a lot of. Every 10 years ago, when I was a kid, you could race all the time, but we didn't have wrestling during the summer. We didn't have basketball. We didn't have volleyball. So now people have to make decisions, and it's like, well, what do you do? So a lot of people miss nights or here and there, and it's like pretty soon you're just down on car count. But the racetracks struggle too with that. I don't know if the people Spencer's done really well just for them because they're not racing every week. They're space it out, they race twice a month or whatever they're doing. And I felt like that's kind of helped them over the long period of time. But it's just the way the world is. You will still have high mod car counts during mod speed week. It's really hard when your local nights are racing. They used to have 20 cars, and it's not there anymore. So it's really tough to really. No one wants to go win a race, and there's only 5 cars. So you want to win when there's 20 or 15. That makes it more enjoyable, I guess, in that aspect.
Sure. Or like last week, 33, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, over 30 at Mandan. Yep. Well, Brandon, you have any? Let's wrap this up. We do really appreciate you taking the time you have today to sit and talk to us about racing. We know you got a real job and whatnot, but do you have any sponsors in particular you want to thank? I know you mentioned a few people already, but wanted to give you at least a chance to thank people that mean the most to you.
I got to thank probably my parents for letting me do this, my wife, obviously they're number one. And Danny Barworks, that's who I work for. Bob Palmer, he comes racing with us all the time. Brett Nelson Farms, Vanderbilt Race Cars, Greeley Trucking, they CPD Shocks, DP Racing Fuels. There's a lot of people that stayed with me over the lot. There's probably 3 or 4 sponsors right now that helped me out all through 200 wins. So they've been with me since 2008. So
that says a lot about you.
That says a lot about them, a lot about helping me, keeping relationships. And then you also get new people. It's been a whirlwind. We're trying to get my son go-kart racing this year, so hopefully
another race car.
a couple nights of racing too to go help him. But no, I enjoy that probably more than me racing. I used to be kind of selfish, be like, I just want to race. It's like, I just don't really feel that way anymore. So it's like, I can go race when I want to race and race against the best guys. That's just what I want to do. And we got to thank IMCA for all that. And providing a lot of racetracks all within the area. We got a lot of choices. But yeah, we'll see how it goes from there. And
That's awesome. Again, we want to thank you for taking the time today.
Speaking
Really
of choices,
super appreciate it.
what's going to be your upcoming choices for races?
for what?
Where you're going to be?
We talked about going up to Fargo this week after the Bison Battle at Jamestown.
I'm going up there. Fargo,
And then
Jamestown.
maybe otherwise Brit races this weekend too. But, yeah, there ain't really, and then we might do the 141 deal. We'll see how that all turns out this weekend. But it's been raining every other day, so I feel like you never really know. Can't really make a decision anyhow.
Yep, we know the feeling for sure.
Yeah.
Well, again, we want to thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.
Want
Yeah,
to
thank you,
wish you
Brandon.
the best the rest of the season. Hopefully, maybe we'll see you at Super Nationals or something like that. And again, thank you for all the laps you've turned racing IMCA. I want to congratulate you on your 200th win from all of us at
Yeah.
IMCA.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank
Have
you.
a good day.
Yep. Thank you.
That was a great interview.
It
I
was.
like that guy. He's
So
just a
down to
nice
earth,
guy.
so-
Yeah.
Guy. He's always like I said. I mean, we how many wins he's got, how many hundreds of races he's been in, and he's never got a letter from us.
No.
He's
Never
raced
once where he
650
loses.
races.
You
and-
talk
And-
Well, I
about
mean, he's
and he's
gotten
had-
letters. They just haven't been
He-
with his signature on them. probably.
He's had the he brought up the mud plug incident, and we've tore his crate engine down. People
I
don't-
forgot about that crate engine deal.
it's weird
Oh, yeah.
because at times I think racers take DQs really, really, really personally. They, like it's a reflection on them, and I get that. I think sometimes that depends on the nature of the DQ and the situations that we, may catch them in. But in Brandon's situation, again, it's he's not one that stands out as somebody that's going to cause a lot of problems.
No, he
But
stands out in a positive way, not in a
Yeah.
correct.
He's
But
one of those guys.
If he's in the pits at a race, he's got a shot of winning it. I don't care where it's at. He's just a very, very good racer. When he's been racing since he was 5 years old, is it racing go-karts?
He's raced with us for 16 years, and he's one of those guys where even those of us who know him, I didn't know he was approaching his 200th win.
absolutely
I knew he
not.
was
I
good. I, knew
didn't
he
know
won a
either.
lot, but when Bill said, 200th win, I'm like, man,
Yep.
I knew he was good, but he's just
Yep.
kind of flies under the radar in that sense.
Yep.
What else we got to talk about? We had an engine claim. Speaking of rules,
Yes, we did.
we did.
We had a shot,
Shot
claim.
claim.
Had shot
No
claim?
engine claim.
We
in
have
Davenport.
the month of May brought us an engine claim and a shot claim.
Oh, they're friends again, though. So
Which one? We should go back to the penalty box. We should start planning a little better and compile the penalty box for the month.
What was the claim?
engine claim.
Which one?
Jared Franson.
Franzen.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Over in
That's kind of why I forgot about it because it's Franson.
I think it was in Davenport.
It was
You
that.
must,
knew it
not,
was
you must not
Davenport.
follow him on social media. You'd never forget about it.
Oh, no.
I don't think it slowed him down much.
No, he's quick. He's good.
No.
No. That was interesting.
And we
Say
haven't
the
really
least.
had
The claim?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jim was actively involved with that one. I think a little bit.
We had a shot claim at Boone Saturday
Yeah,
night.
in the hobby stock.
did.
Hobby stock shot claim.
Yeah.
My brother
It's
figured,
interesting.
Those are the
my
two.
brother figured out with shocks in the stock cars, you should probably read the rule book. So
Yeah, the rules he
it's
said
like
have
I said
changed
when I
since
when I
he's
said
run.
it's disqualification. He's never been known for too much shaft out of the body. So
He called me about that. He goes, "Hey, I don't know the rule. You tell me this rule and explain this. And why do you have this rule in the stock cars? Why did I get DQ for my shock?" And so we talked about it, and he goes, "I didn't even know that was a rule." So
Has it been that long
now
since he's
you do.
raced?
yeah, it has been that long.
Speaking of claims,
But again, he's like, "I don't think I've ever been disqualified in my life," and I thought they were joking when they told me that. It does. You have these situations like that you catch the racer off guard a little bit, and I think in Jason's particular situation, that's basically what he said. He'd set his car up, and he said, "I didn't realize he said I went back into the pits after I got DQ'd, and people were congratulating me, and he goes, I got DQ'd, and they're like, for what? And he said, well, my shock shaft didn't have enough showing. He goes, I think I'm going to have to load up. I don't know how I'm going to fix that. And he said, the guy right beside me, I can't remember who it was, just said, well, just turn that bolt down on the shock. He goes, oh, that's what that's for. He goes, I didn't even know what it was for.
He can wire a multi-million-dollar building, but he couldn't figure out how to make his shock.
We had an attempted claim one night too.
We did.
Now, how do you attempt?
Jim shows up when they attempt.
Oh.
And once again,
We do thank. I would like to thank Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook at times for pointing us to the right racetrack, because we have these moments where it's like,
there was a neon sign.
yeah, but we have these moments where it's like, no, that's not going to happen. Not on our watch. We do our best to try to be impartial and fair, but we don't expect IMCA racers to become the shitting grounds of other people.
Pay the price for other people's shitty decisions.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, when we step in and do things like Jim is usually the person that does it, or myself, or sometimes Dave, when we have to step into a situation and make a decision that falls under the EIRI category in the rules, when we have to do that, we are, at the end of the day, our best interests are with our association, and that includes everybody in the association. It doesn't include me personally or Jim personally. I mean, like I said, that's not how we make decisions, but we will step in if we have situations that we feel are outside the norm, that are going to create a set of circumstances that are bad for racing, bad for IMCA racers, bad for IMCA racetrack, or just bad, generally speaking, for our association, and sets a precedence that we just don't think is right. So, yeah, we had one of those situations where Jim stepped in, but it was the right thing to do. That guy don't have a claim card no more.
No, I got a claim card.
You got it in your pocket?
You gonna make a claim, Jim?
Sitting on my desk.
Jim's got it somewhere.
Yeah. I'm going to frame this and send it to him for Christmas.
And we've done that before, too, for people that were trying to piece together what the hell we're talking about. I mean, if we take, claiming an IMCA is not something that people think it's their God-given right to claim an IMCA.
And make a mockery of it.
And the reality is it's not.
It's like a driver's license. It's a
we
privilege.
send the claim cards from here. We issue the claim cards. We can take the claim cards back.
We can take it.
And it seems like every year we have at least one. Usually there's one person that we need to demonstrate that with. But again, I have to thank Facebook for that, for sure.
But once again,
makes it easy for it to stand out.
It kind of shows what we just talked about, where we had what we all considered a good claim, except Jared Franson, and then we had what we would consider
a bad one,
a shitty claim.
Yeah. Which is derogatory to the whole situation.
Correct.
And at the end of the day, don't confuse the issue with. There's a fine line there. There really is. We have in most all of our divisions an opportunity for people to get out of the claim. The engine claim in particular. Sorry, it's called the crate. And if you don't want to run the crate, then the claim comes with the other option. That's just the way it goes. That's the way it's always been. I don't necessarily think that'll ever change in IMCA.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it just comes down.
If you don't want to get claimed, if you don't want your engine claimed, run a crate. Run the non-claimable option, at least in most of the divisions.
It comes down to at the end of the day, when you pull in the gate, the consequences of everything can happen. It's not a new rule. Yep. When you roll in, that some guy that because of whatever can spin out in front of you and you might crash your car.
Yep.
You might pull in and this guy wants to claim your shocks, but you know it going in.
Yep.
Speaking of that, do we have any interesting emails?
We always get them, and I think we should have a segment. I think we should make up a segment.
Email of the week.
Did you print them off?
I printed out one because they just make me.
Winter chicken dinner.
I try to file them
I like
so I can go back and.
Can I read it?
We should have a segment
in a dramatic voice.
And I'm trying to think of what I was just making notes earlier this morning and yesterday when we got this. I'm thinking we should have a segment called "Who Am I?"
Yeah.
Because we get these anonymous emails. They come usually at least once a week.
How do you get an anonymous email?
Usually on Mondays.
Well, they're usually from people who don't race.
Right.
Oh.
And they're not usually signed like, hey, please call me back or anything like that. It's like, you guys need to do this because of this, And
so what the person is it's sending you an email because they want you to babysit the problem that they think is a problem.
Is this from the not to be named sport mod driver email?
Yeah, something like that, maybe. As a driver, you are allowed to ask tech official why he didn't measure a particular side of a deck that I felt was higher than the other, and then he said, official gets pissed and threatens to tear my whole car down, period. That's a long run-on sentence. I'd have to listen to that again. I'm going to have to watch the podcast just to make sure that made sense. I asked why he didn't measure what I thought was the higher side, both sides, and he got mad and accused me of saying he was playing favorites. I never said, period. I never said that, and I thought it was a blatant overreaction, period. It was uncalled for, period. He's doing good with periods here, this person is. Also, can I get a copy of the tech official's handbook or whatever the techs get to ensure that the techs are to ensure they tech consistently? That's an interesting one. I always enjoy that one because people want us to give them the tech manual like we just give them out to everybody. And generally speaking, we don't do that because, one, they're expensive to make for one.
Everybody has access to the rules, so what?
But they don't have the actual penalties. So the tech manual outlines the penalties. I think most racers have seen me or Jim or Dave or the local tech official carrying around a tech manual. We produce the tech manuals just for the racetracks and just for their officials. We don't give them to the racers just from the standpoint of we're not going to make 9,000 of those things and then try to distribute them. We'd have to raise the license cost by twice as much.
And even what we might have to do if you buy a license, like after a certain day, we'd have to charge more for it.
We could do that. We could mirror the other association. And then the last sentence is, one of the techs also pumped my engine last year using a whistler, but didn't know the proper procedure for using said whistler. And I'm just like, wow, this is like one big run-on sentence. It's interesting. It's not signed by anybody. But it's like,
I know who it is.
You don't pump an engine with a whistler. So there's a little inaccuracy in that. A pump and a whistler are two different things.
Yes,
You
they are two different
whistle an engine with a pump?
You can't.
And you can't pump an engine with a
Think
whistler.
about that. You're going to confuse me.
Now, if you whistle and pump at the same time, that could be a good Sunday afternoon delight.
Yeah, at the end of the day, every year, every week, thankfully not every week, but every year we see to have situations where tech officials and racers are in. I mean, it's a contentious situation anyway when you disqualify people. Not everybody handles it necessarily like maybe Beckendorf does, but they can get pretty heated, and then you can pull in people that have nothing to do with it out of the grandstand, especially if they've been drinking. We had situations like that have popped up. Mm-hmm. Well, and when you got fists flying by drunk people that aren't even racing.
Beer cans are thrown at
it's kind of wild.
Peoples and trucks and cars.
Situations that come up pretty consistently, or at least annually at IMCA, can be pretty entertaining, to be quite honest. You almost have to find humor in some of this stuff.
Have to. Otherwise, you'll drive yourself crazy.
But at the end of the day, we write rules, and we do our best to enforce rules, and we do our best to make sure that the racetracks are enforcing the rules. So, but yeah, this Who Am I section. I'm going to start saving some of these.
So if
you want to make our podcast, send us a really long run-on sentence.
Yeah, no punctuation, please.
No punctuation. Don't sign it. And maybe we'll read it.
Well, actually, wait. You must sign at the end of the tagline who you want to read the email. So you have a choice. Do you want Brett to read it? Do you want me? Do you want Ryan?
You just want to read them all.
You just want to read them all.
I think if they want
you
their
stole
email.
Jerry's thunder.
We're going to call this Jerry.
You know what? I could see Jerry reading these emails because he would read them in similar fashion that they were written.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Without much sense.
We'll call this segment Jerry's going to guess who you are.
Ooh.
And if anybody guesses, we'll send him a free hat.
Yeah, we could.
No way.
There'll be prizes.
That'd be fun. Yeah.
You too could win a prize.
Well, we've been talking for a long time. How long
Hour
have we been
and
talking?
10? Is it? Hour and 10 or so?
But I think the Beckendorf interview was fantastic.
It was.
I think
Absolutely.
a lot of people who don't know Brandon now know him a little better.
We should do more of those.
But I mean, when I say IMCA, Brandon's kind of what IMCA is about. I mean, again, he's winning shitloads of races. 200 races is a pretty rare club, to be quite honest.
The thing about Brandon, you can walk into a pit someplace. It's like, what in the hell are you doing here?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, a couple other things I want to mention. I want to turn it to maybe not so necessarily good note, maybe some sadness. I want to extend, from all of us at IMCA, I want to extend our condolences to Jeff Wiggins. His parents were killed in the tornado in Greenfield. You know, and I don't know Jeff, and I'm not going to claim to know Jeff. I know he's a member. I know he races, and I know his parents had passed away, and we want to sincerely send our condolences to him and his entire family and everybody in that Greenfield community. We've got racers down there. Todd Van Eaton calls that place home. His shop was destroyed. You know, he was at Spencer when it happened at the race and went back home. You know, the whole hog in Stewart was essentially somewhat canceled because of Todd's.
I mean, well, him and his sister, you know, his sister and brother-in-law, they got extensive damage, not only to their house, but if I remember right, their business, and they're both big, huge contributors to that event.
It's just a devastating set of circumstances, you know, and for those that obviously that did survive, we don't let them know that we're thinking of them. And anybody who knows Todd, Buck, you know, even Jonathan Logan, the people that the circle that Todd kind of runs around in, you know, any well wishes you can send any of that group, for sure, I think is well received. Because again, you know, we did have an IMCA racer who lost his parents in that deal, and you know, we can't, nothing we can say to, you know, even touch probably the grief that Jeff's going through. So we just want to extend our condolences to him for sure. We also had an IMCA racer, Kevin Pittman, who's raced IMCA for many years. He was the first. Yeah, he had passed away here a few weeks ago. He was the first racer to ever win the Super Nationals in 2 divisions. You know, he goes by Porky in this area. Everybody knows him as Porky. His name's Kevin Pittman, for those that don't know his real name. But, you know, we want to extend our condolences to his wife as well. You know, I was in Independence on Saturday night, and they had a car lettered up like his car. And, I know he was in racing forever and ever and ever.
Just a long time.
Long time. And again, first guy to ever win 2 Super Nationals titles in different divisions. Do you guys know who else would have put? There's 5 people that have done it. Do you guys know the 5 that have done it?
Hold on, let me look at it.
So you've got
Ryan.
No, just I'm going to see if I can.
Well, Jeff Ike.
So you've got
He's won
Pittman,
multiple.
Ike,
Thornton. Those are the 3 that you can think of.
Smith, one of the Smiths. There's like 9 of them. One of the Smiths has done it. You know which one?
Is it Devin?
No, it'd have been Doug.
No.
No.
Donovan?
No.
Donovan?
It was Donovan that did it.
He did it in hobby stock.
Hobby and stock car.
There's one more.
And one more.
Recent or not so recent?
Not so recent.
Not so recent.
I know.
And this is an interesting one.
Yeah.
Scott Davis.
Yeah.
Is it Davis?
Yeah.
Scott
This
Davis?
is why I want to bring this up too.
Because he won it.
He won a hobby stock
It was
before
a
it was
street
sanctioned.
stock.
Street stock.
He's won 2.
I think there was one other.
He's won
Sport
2.
mod and a stock car.
He's won 2. Yeah. Sport mod and a stock car. But he's also the only racer that has actually won 3.
Because he won it in a street stock.
Street stock before.
That was unsanctioned, but was part of the
Correct.
Super Nationals.
So I think the hobby
Because it was
stocks
a
were
boon class. at that
97 was when the hobby stocks were.
Yeah.
Correct. Yep. The Scott Davis thing, I always think is interesting.
Jim thinks there's another one though.
Again, because of the ties you have, if there is, I'm missing it. The ties you have Scott has to the facility itself, to the Boone Speedway. His parents were Greg and is it
Eloise?
Eloise? I want to make sure.
No,
I
it's
say
Joyce, like Joyce. That's how Greg. It's
Eloise?
yeah. But he says it looks like Eloise, but it's
Joyce.
like Joyce without the J, but add an E. That's how he
Gotcha.
explained it to me.
I talked to Greg it would have been just like a couple weeks ago. I didn't go over there for that race. He had a memorial race for
last
Saturday
week.
night.
for her on Saturday night.
42 stock cars, I think.
Yep,
Yeah.
42 stock cars. But yeah, I thought it's all these backdrop stories, all these things that people don't necessarily know. But like Scott, he's an active IMCA stock car racer. He's in the pits at Boone Speedway pretty much every race.
Built them.
Yep, won 2 Super Nationals, but actually has won 3.
Yep.
If you count the non-sanctioned time he won for I call it a hobby stock, you call it street stock.
But yeah, because it was
It was
at that time it
non-sanctioned.
was a street. That's what they called them.
And then the ties that the Davis family has
That was I spent a lot
to the
of
Speedway.
and I spent some time with talking to Greg before and after the races, and just hearing the neat stories about how that whole thing got started.
Yeah.
How Boone Speedway became what it was. It was a farm field.
Yeah.
And his, Scott's grandpa, Greg's dad, Greg was racing at the time.
Yep.
And they were going to quit racing in Dayton around the rodeo arena. And they put a plan together, sold shares, and built a racetrack.
The rest is history. I think
Now
that
we,
was 67.
now we have two.
Was that 67 that happened?
66. Fall of 66 is when they started.
I think the
it.
first season was 67.
67 was the first year. So,
Yeah.
1967 and, Super Nationals of 2024
Boone 2.
is when,
Boone two.
is when Boone
Every
won.
time you
and-
say
That's what
Boone.
Greg thinks about Boone too. I haven't
Every time you
asked
say
him.
Boone too, I'm driving, so I'm not.
I didn't ask him about it because I didn't want to, I didn't know what it would.
You're exactly right, Jerry. I mean, Greg Davis is. I've got to know him in the last,
was some great
in about the last
stories.
year and a half. He is a wealth of knowledge. He's really, really, really interesting to talk to. And he's the type of guy. He was in the Victory Lane picture. I saw him in the Victory Lane photo for the race last weekend. He'll be up on a catwalk. He'll be out there. He's there like every weekend as well, and he hangs out on the catwalk and he's walking in. He's in the pits, and you'd never know you never know the
Very
history behind
unassuming.
him. And he's there, But when you find it out, there's just a huge level of respect to him and his family for all they've done for
There's
racing. And
one
Boone.
other person at Boone that I feel meets that same Jim Neighbors.
Yeah,
I mean,
Jim Majors.
Majors. Nah.
Jim Neighbors.
Jim Neighbors.
I talked to him a couple years ago, didn't realize his background and all that.
Jim promoted there for like a couple of years. I mean, Jim's been heavily involved.
Yes, he has.
You know what's crazy about one of the stories that Greg told me Saturday night? When you come in the South Pit and there's that red barn
Yep.
right inside?
Used to be
That
where-
was a chicken coop at one time. And a guy that wanted to start racing was like, hey, I think we could
Turn
make
into
that
a
chicken
shop.
coop into a deal. So Greg says, well, yeah, why don't you boys go look at it, see what you think. They went in, they lifted the roof off and everything of it, and that was Joe McBurney's first race shop.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Now
It's about to fall over now.
turned into a chicken ranch.
A lot of hit it with a scare fire or whatever he did.
Oh, yeah, he whacked the builder.
He did not go corner out of it.
Oh, I know. I think
Go back to its roots from a chicken coop to a chicken ranch.
Oh, good Lord, Jim.
Remember that one year there were chickens at the Super Nationals?
Yeah, somebody brought
I mean,
him.
now
Let
that
him
the
loose.
chicken, yeah,
Hot
because-
Chicken Man.
Yeah, no,
Chicken
Chicken Man and real chickens showed up.
These
that
are
one
real
year.
ones. They had roosters out there. They're every morning. We're going crazy, and they left them there. When they left, the roosters were still there.
Everybody thought the Smiths brought them because they were right down there in that corner. But,
Some of Ryan's favorite Super Nationals.
yes.
Oh, good times. What else? What else we got? We've talked enough. We've hit on
done.
lots
We're
and lots
done.
and lots of subjects.
We got to mercy kill this deal.
Yeah, let's.
It's been an hour and 20
Jerry,
minutes. What
wrap
more you
it up.
got?
All right.
Now, hurry up, hurry up.
I do want to thank IMCA Lawn Care for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. If you'd like your lawn cut, please call the office. Ask for Jerry.
Yep. I'll be there tomorrow. We'll make sure the stripes.
Yeah, because we see it on Facebook. Who else puts their mowing their yard on Facebook?
Dude.
You put that on
You
Facebook?
take pride and
End
effort
it.
in your
End
yard.
it.
Drivers are the best.
I was over there like 4 or 5 days before he mowed.
Oh, it was. I mean, the grass was.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised. Your neighbors even talk to you?
Not
Not anymore.
Take us out of here, Jerry.
All right, a lot of great IMCA racing coming up this week. Make sure and check it out locally. If you can't make it, be on a lot of stuff on IMCA TV, and maybe you want to go back and watch something else that you forgot that you want to see again. Get that replay pass. So, from all of us to all of you, enjoy the week. Grab some IMCA racing. Have fun. Thanks for tuning in.